Welcome to Caring Community with your host, Jay West. In this community, creative initiatives are welcome. A culture of transformation is normal, and miracles are expected. Welcome to Caring Community.
Hello, I'm Jay West, and this is Caring Community. And my special guest today is Rusty Hike. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me, Jay.
Yeah, so Rusty Hike is presently the mayor of Bellevue, which is the city I live in. So it seemed appropriate to have you in. So
Awesome, yeah.
So
Thanks.
I remember the day we met. Do you remember that day?
Oh gosh, it's been, when we prayed together.
Yeah.
That was
So I'm part of something called the United States National Prayer Council, and my job is to pray and encourage political leaders and public servants. So that's everybody, county commissioners, railroad commissioners, police chiefs, fire chiefs, mayors, state senators, congressmen, U.S. congressmen, governors, lieutenant governors, ambassadors. So far, I've gotten up to the vice president of the United States. I haven't gotten to the president yet, but maybe someday. But you're like the president of our city.
Yeah, that's awesome. I enjoyed that when you come in and pray. It's always nice to know that you got people thinking about.
Well, what I remember, and I hope it's okay to say this, I'm assuming it is. If it's not, we'll just start over or whatever. But when I put on Facebook, on social media, that I met with somebody, I normally don't put that I prayed with them. I just say that I encouraged them, met with them, or talked to them. And I did that with him with his picture, and then he had an addendum underneath that, and he said something about, I prayed with him and everything else, and it was special time to you. And I thought for a political leader, a public servant to do that, that took incredible boldness. But your faith is important to you.
Prayers are very important to me, and I pray every day, so I don't think we can do our jobs without it.
Right. So you've been the mayor now for how many years?
3 years and 3 months.
3 years and 3 months.
And I'm running again this year.
You're running again, and when he says he's running, we're not just talking about running for office. The guy is like the Energizer Bunny on steroids, okay? He's already made major changes to Bellevue. When we moved here from Dallas, the Lord specifically spoke to me and said, I want you to live in Bellevue. And I was like, I don't even know where Bellevue is. I'd been to Omaha multiple times. I'd never been to Bellevue, but it's a great city. And I knew the previous mayor, and I know her to this day, and I know you. And you've brought so many changes already. It's just incredible, so.
Yeah, I'm fourth generation from Bellevue. My family got here in the late 1800s. And I've been fortunate enough to have a good business going along to where it allows me to do some of these volunteer things. My hours are flexible, and so that's been really beneficial to me. I know my dad was a county commissioner back in the 70s, and I ran for the county board back in 2008. And I saw what he was able to get done, so I thought maybe I'll try to get some things done. And when I got on the county board, we were able to get the final funding for the Highway 34 bridge. We were able to keep the Sarpy County Storm Chasers, the Omaha Royals, in town in Sarpy County. Right. Finished the law enforcement center, so I was able to get a lot of things done. And fast forward 10 years, and going through my business, I just kind of thought Bellevue was sitting a little bit flat in a great economy. And it's like, well, you were able to get something done as county commissioner, so let's try to run for mayor and get some things done. And I'm pretty proud of what me and my team have been able to do. I've done a lot of things for Bellevue and got some things off the ground, even though we went through historic floods and pandemic.
And let's just back up. During the floods, he's not just a mayor sitting in an office, okay? He was down there cleaning up debris, driving a tractor, pushing stuff out, hauling stuff to the trash. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. So.
No, that's what our community's about. We had a lot of the national disaster teams come into town,
right?
And they come to me as the mayor and said, Rusty, we can't get these people to trust us that we're coming in to actually help them for free. And I said, well, we kind of help each other around here, but I'll help you get in the door. And then finally, we were able to convince people that, hey, there's actually people out there to help you. Or, we'll accept them, and we'll accept the help. And the community came together and helped out in a big way.
Well, and I know a number of mayors, okay? But my three top mayors that I like, obviously, are you, because you're in my city, and then Doug Kindig in La Vista, and then David Black in Papillion. Yep. And these are all men who are they're servants, they're public servants. When you talk about public servants, which is a title we don't hear very often anymore, that really is what they are. You know, I'm sure you don't get it for the pay. I don't know what they pay to be a mayor, but
It's up to 21,000 a year now. It's
Really? Wow.
it's okay. It gives you some of your money, your expenses back. You know, I don't apply for additional gas or anything. I just hope that covers all my expenses at least. And
right. And you know, Mike Foley is our lieutenant governor, and he's become a very good friend. And I know what his salary is. I won't say it on here. You can look it up online. It's readily available. He told me what it is. And we were just talking one day because, you know, the governor gets an escort. He gets, you know, police officers to go with him. But the lieutenant governor doesn't. He's on his own, drives his own car and everything else. So it's not like there's a lot of glamour and glitz, especially in the Midwest. Maybe out on the West Coast or the East Coast, there's more of that, but there certainly isn't here, you know. And the accessibility, too, is just wonderful. You know, I mean, one thing I really like about you is you're accessible. You know, I've come to your office, I've met with you, some of the other staff. You know, the door is open. It's not like, hey, I'm the mayor, I'm too busy, you know, so.
No, I'll get some calls, and instead of if somebody's got an issue with something in town, instead of calling them back, sometimes I'll go knock on their door, and they're like, "What's the mayor doing here?" It's, well, you had a question. I just thought I'd come down and talk to you about it.
I remember we had National Day out, you know, back when you were doing it all over the neighborhoods pre-COVID. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And I asked you to come to our neighborhood, and he did, you know, and he came and met the people that live on my blocks there and talked and interacted with them, you know, and that's the kind of leader I like, you know, the leaders that, you know, in my role, I minister and pray with Democrats and Republicans, as you know, but every once in a while, there's a leader that'll close the door and he said, I don't want to see you. Won't, and, you know, I could tell you there's been several that have said, I don't want to see you, don't want anything to do with you, you know. But 90% of them say yes, open the door and want to visit, get acquainted, and normally a friendship is built, you know. So
my door's open to everybody, and it's friendships like ours that just makes it really rewarding.
Right, and then you blessed me one time when you had your first Christmas thing, and with the light display. What is that called? This has a name.
Light Up Bellevue.
Light Up Bellevue. You know, and we had ideas, but you had me come in, kind of do a invocation for it. You know, on the street, it was cold and chilly, and people were drinking their hot apple cider and everything else. But it was a fun evening, and it's just Light Up Bellevue. You've created these light displays. The parks are going up. I know you're building stuff down. By the way, I need to ask you. I'm just asking you probably. What's going on in the corner of Franklin as you go up to Harvell, right there on the left side? They're just tearing out everything there. What's going on there?
Okay, there's a couple acres of it's kind of an overgrown forested area. A lot of fallen down trees, and kind of a area as you come in from the western part of town into the old town area. But they're building 10 condominiums there, and they're probably in the $360,000 price range. So it gives us a little bit nicer quality house in the old town area to start building that area.
And you got those other apartments down there by the park, or those condos with the garages?
Those are actually apartments, three-story units.
3 stories, yeah. There's
very
2 big
nice.
units, yeah.
I walked through those. They're very nice.
And I know you've got plans where the city hall was taken out, and
yeah, our city hall, I've been actually worked on that 6 or 7 years ago. I started when I wasn't mayor through the chamber. We were trying to get something going in Old Town, and anyway, we've got that really close now. I've been saying that for a year. We've tore the buildings down about a year and a half ago, but I really think, you know, the developer's just about ready to put the ink to it. And
then even on like Fort Crook Road, where you create a extra drive, how did that happen to the turnaround? You know, how much clout and influence somebody had to make that happen? It's like
Fort Crook Road, we had there's always been an issue with development along Fort Crook because the state had always controlled the right-of-ways, or that's what we were under the assumption for a couple decades since Kennedy came in, that we couldn't do anything without the state's permission. Well, we looked through it, and we found that we do have control of those right-of-ways, and we cleared it up with the state. So we've been able to make changes for traffic, our own changes, without having to run it through the state process. We put new turning lanes in. We put crossovers in through the medians for new businesses. So just something simple. You know, it's you can't take somebody's word for something. You just if it's detrimental to you, figure it out and find out how to fix it.
And if the state's not involved, I'm guessing we don't have to do pay for these extra long studies too. Right. You know, pay thousands and thousands of dollars to study it. You know,
yep.
So
just do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. And I like this. You know, don't you want a mayor who says, "Let's do it"? You know? So You know, I'm excited about what Bellevue can become, and not just Bellevue. You're as a mayor, you have influence with the other mayors. I'm sure you have. I know they have a thing for lieutenant governors and governors at the White House. Do they have something for the mayors every year in DC? Do they used to? Or?
Yeah, there's a national mayors. We can get online and join whoever's online once a month, and there's a lot of different avenues for that. Within Sarpy County, we've got 5 cities. We've got 5 mayors there.
Right.
So we have the United Cities, and the mayors meet during legislative session. We meet every week to go over the issues that affect Sarpy County and our individual cities. And that we work really well together, the 5 mayors. So that's just another great advantage of this community, people working together.
Right. And he's on Facebook, and you've taken some heat on Facebook. I always feel bad about that. You know, social media is what it is. I've taken some heat too, but
I'm out there, but I'm not a politician that doesn't want to talk about my vision.
Right.
I want people to know where my mind is, and if they want to change it or try to change it, I want that. I want good discussion.
Right. Right.
And because
I brought him ideas about the parks and stuff. You've always been receptive. You haven't done any of them yet, but no, I'm teasing. I think he has. But well, I did. I have told you about when the fountains weren't working. The next day they'd be working. So yeah. So I know
our parks are. We are doing a master comprehensive plan for our parks. Bellevue has 53 parks. When I first got to the city, it's like 53 parks. We are a mowing company. So we're really studying that and how to make the best use of those parks, and if can we enhance one? If we don't need another one, maybe we can do something else with the park that makes a better use of it. But
did I hear that the library is moving?
Library is moving. They're moving to Longo Drive, which is right across straight north of the Bellevue University and the big doctor's building. There was a study out there years ago to build a new library, and different price tags, $15 million to $40 million for a brand new state-of-the-art library. You know, we can't pay $20-40 million for a library and expect to get some other projects done in town at this point in time. So what we did,
and obviously with bookstores closing, more things online, Amazon, whatever, you can buy your stuff, get it. You can get it on your phone, you get it on your app, whatever. So there's more and more of that too, and less. I know Omaha just. The big thing about they moving their library so they can build a ginormous skyscraper. I thought, okay, when we're moving ours, are we building a skyscraper?
Right.
So what's going to go in there? Are you permitted to say where the current library is?
It'll be kind of more state-of-the-art stuff. It's just a new space. It's a modern space. It doesn't have the old building issues that our old library has.
No, I mean, what's going to happen with the old library space?
We are talking to some other community-type services.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't say anything else on that, but it will be a good community type.
That's a good corner to have stuff on, though. So it's really good. There's a stoplight there and everything else. So yeah. So tell me what your faith means to you. Can you share that in terms of your walk, your wife, your family?
My faith. I've struggled in life at different times. I didn't have stuff given to me. I have got myself, in my younger years, I've got myself in financial troubles or just individual troubles. And the constant that I've always had is my faith in God, and He's always answered me. And I expect Him to continue that if I believe in Him. But He's taking care of me, He's taking care of my family. And we always have issues that come up that they're undescribable, or why that's in the master plan, I guess. But I've been down on myself on different times, and I've turned to prayer, and I always get through it.
Well, you put something recently on social media about prayer, and I know Congressman Don Bacon, who's a friend of mine, a friend of yours, does that. Ben Ungerman, who was just in here, is Don's deputy chief of staff, does that. A lot of my Democrat, Republican friends who are believers do that, use social media to share from time to time what their faith means to them, why they believe in it, God, why they value Scripture. And I've appreciated that about you. And it wouldn't lower my opinion of you any if you didn't do that, because my job is to support public officials in this realm, But it's like an exclamation point when you do. It's a plus, It creates a deeper bond, at least from my perspective, in what I'm called to do and what I'm asked to do it, because I don't just do it there. I'm on staff at King of Kings Church, which is one of our bigger churches, involved in prayer ministry. It's kind of what I do when I travel, speak around the nation. So it's part of my DNA. So it's nice when I connect with somebody else in your realm, that does the same. Like Rita Sanders, our previous mayor, correct? Right. When my wife died, she reached out multiple times to me to help do things. She was praying for me and so on. These are great blessings, if you will, because like you said, in the greater scheme of things, I don't understand. I pray for a lot of people, they get well. I prayed for my wife, she didn't get well. Right. At that point, I have to trust God's character. On my Bible here, I have to trust what His Word says, even though I don't understand in the natural what's going on. Like you went through, like you said, financial difficulties or whatever. Why did that happen? Why does they've written books about why do bad things happen to good people, that kind of stuff, so.
Builds character, for one thing.
Yeah. And you are quite a character. No, I'm teasing. So tell us about your wife a little bit. Tell us about your family, because I see a little bit from her on Facebook, but I've never met her. I liked it when I saw the two of you walking down in the parade last summer together. That was kind of cool. Kind of reminded me of the presidents when they get elected on Inauguration Day and they get out of the car and they walk together. So.
Now my wife's, our 25th anniversary is coming up.
Congratulations.
Yep. And she's from Tekamah, so she's from small town north of here, farm family, and her dad ran a hardware store and a heating plumbing contractor, so got along with him great. He was, he's still alive, and connected with him because my dad was a home builder. But great family from up there. She's been a teacher in the Bellevue Public Schools for 27 years, and she's made a lot of connections herself in town, just teaching all those kids. Sometimes we go to the store and she gets more highs than I do from her old students. So that's kind of a neat feeling as well, just to know that hey, we're making an impact in the community and people recognize it. And, got two boys. We have two boys together. I have a daughter from prior marriage and three grandsons. They're down in Pensacola, but my older son is graduated with a biology degree from UNL, and I have a senior at Bellevue East right now, so his last year. So
wasn't he on the football team for a while? Or
he was. He's a baseball player. He's a catcher, so he's kind of giving everything up to finish out that sport. So.
I know one of the coaches, I won't mention his name, he told me that your son was playing, and I thought, like, oh, I didn't know that. It was kind of cool. So So we have about 10 minutes left. What's your vision for Bellevue? What's your overall vision? Not just little projects here and there, but what's your overall vision?
Yeah, I want. When I first got here, I did a big annexation package, which really helped shore up our finances. Bellevue's finances weren't real strong. So since then, since we've had the annexation package go through, we've created enough revenue to actually fully fund our fire department and our police department and get them fully staffed and equipped. My dad was a home builder he was a masonry guy, put in basements for his trade, and he always told me, if your foundation's not good, nothing above it's good. So my thought is, on anything I do, I've got to get that solid foundation, something to grow on. So I think we've got all that shored up. We're out looking for new businesses, new developments. Our Highway 34, Highway 75 interchange and corridor down there is that's going to be an economic driver for Bellevue for decades to come. So we're really paying attention to that. We've got a big project going in down there right now, as long as all the
where at?
Contracts get signed.
Where at?
Just on that interchange, the Highway 34 and 75 interchange.
Okay.
A lot of high-paying jobs will come with it. So we're bringing sewer, water into that area, and we're getting a lot of attention down there. So we've sold a lot of industrial pieces down there in the last year. So we're getting good attention in Bellevue. We just came out with a new logo for the city. Our logo hadn't been changed, I think, in 40 years. So it's got that new image. We've got kind of the world with Bellevue and a jet coming out off the world. So it's a our tagline is "We influence the world." So don't know if anybody's heard that yet. It's coming out
I have not.
in our publication next week to be announced.
So let me just
You heard it first here.
Let me just tag it on. So influence comes from the word, you'll be interested in this, influence comes from the word influenza.
Oh, really?
And influenza means in the flu. It means you get the flu, right? But influence means in the flow. It just has a different, and where do you have flow? It's in a river. We're next to the Missouri River. What's the difference between a river and a swamp? Simply flow.
Yeah.
Okay? A swamp has no flow to it, it's dead. There's nothing going on there. A river has flow. So this influence theme, say it again, what is it?
We influence the world.
We influence the world. Yeah, great.
We've
Great
got
theme.
Offutt sitting right here in Bellevue, so Offutt's got men and women around the world 24 hours a day. We're getting into, I know there's some cybersecurity issues coming up with the military, so a lot of those I think are going to be handled right out of Bellevue, Omaha here, with the different universities and Offutt. So I think we're on a cutting edge to really change our vision, our outlook for the future, and Bellevue's in a good spot right now.
You know what? All that ties in with another word, impact. We want to have impact. But I often say you can't have an impact without collision. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're like colliding with, the old way of doing things versus the new way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to stay just a tiny little community, nothing happening? Or do we want to be like some of the other cities that are really taking off, because of great leadership?
Yep.
And so I think I'm excited to hear all these things, And Bellevue's still is Bellevue still the third largest city in Nebraska?
Still the third largest, and happy to report that the latest census puts us in front of Council Bluffs now. So we're the second largest city in the metro.
Really?
We're 64,100 or 64,100 something people.
My only complaint, and it's not a Bellevue complaint, it's more of a Sarpy County complaint, it's just an area complaint, is, I'm just to be honest, real estate taxes are horrible.
Yep.
I shared with a friend of mine down in Texas and Arkansas just this week, and I paid my taxes because they're due before April 1st. I pay the whole thing because I don't have an escrow. But, and the person on the other end of the phone said, that is 4.5 times more than we pay down here.
Yep. No, I totally get that, and I understand why. Nebraska's got, I think, 1.9 million people in it now. It's not a lot of people when you've got all these roads and infrastructure and education across the state.
Simultaneously, we have the lowest unemployment in the nation as a state. Is that not correct?
It is, yeah. It is
So
correct.
there's some really great things. The good life. I mean, I'm called here. I'm not complaining. I'm just like, when I see that number, I was like, why are we paying this? But it's okay. I get it. The Bible says, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. Taxes are part of that. I'm not really complaining. I'm just talking.
No, I get it.
And I know it's not your area. So
I pay a lot of taxes too. So
yeah. So you talk about foundation. I'm just going to circle back to the spiritual side. In Ephesians, it talks about our faith is built on the apostles and the prophets, and it says Jesus Christ being the chief cornerstone. And our foundation and our faith has to be solid too.
Yep.
If we're just kind of wimpy, if we're just kind of like take or leave it. I don't know if you've heard this phrase, CEO Christians. You know what that is? Mm-mm. They go to church at Christmas, Easter, and one other Sunday. And so it's like, and then when a crisis hits, they're not ready. It's like they're cramming, because I didn't do very well in school until I got to college. I was a terrible student in high school. I didn't know how to study. I knew how to have fun, but I didn't know how to study. Once you learn how to study, it changes your life. So, and I'm sure you're studying to be a great mayor, to continue on, and I appreciate your vision. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your honesty. If I would encourage you with any political leader, any public servant, don't criticize them, okay? At least publicly. Just go talk to them privately. Don't write mean notes on social media. That's not helpful at all. All that does is stir up more whatever, and be honorable and respectful, Refer to him as Mayor Hike. I talk, it's President Biden. It was President Trump. I don't just call them by their last names. I don't want to be called that way. It's a matter of honor, a matter of respect, kindness. My doctor is a personal friend of mine. When I'm in his house having dinner, I just call him Mark, okay? Because he's a personal friend. But in the office, it's always Dr. Woodruff. That's who he is, And so I think we've lost a lot of that. We've lost a lot of that as a society, as a nation.
A little decorum, a little respect.
And bring some of this back. We're not putting him on a pedestal saying he's, whatever, But it is who he is. And he's a good mayor. You're a good mayor.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jay. I appreciate
having you on. And I know Jim Risto, he works with you, a good friend, strong believer. Is Mark still working with you?
He is, yeah.
Mark
doing
Elbert,
a great
still
job.
working. And what's his job? Communications or something?
Community Development Director.
Community Development. I haven't seen him for a while. You've got a great staff. Your secretary's always kind when I go in there. I mean, they're always welcoming. Hey, good to see you. Happy to see you. Come in, have some coffee. Rusty will buy you a bag of donuts. I'm teasing, but
If it takes that, I'd say
yeah.
no problem.
So anyway, so thanks a lot for being on the show.
Yeah, well.
Thanks for sharing your heart.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a part of the Bellevue community and making a difference. Say the theme of the city again.
We influence the world.
We influence the world. So,
Right here from Bellevue, Nebraska.
so I have a little saying too, and it's tied in. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
How do you change a city? One person at a time. So this is a guy, he's one person, he's making a difference. He's a friend of mine. I count it an honor to have you as a friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, friend.
God bless you, and we'll see you again. We'll do lunch again sometime soon.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.